What is addiction? According to Wikipedia, addiction is defined as the continued use of a mood-altering substance or behavior despite adverse consequences. What is smartphone addiction? Smartphone addiction is an addiction that can be destructive to social lives outside of mobile devices, including smartphones. Although it is not an official addiction, it is now prevalent worldwide as it causes trauma and anxiety among other symptoms. There are some common behaviors which can give a sign to measure the smartphone addiction. The first sign is you check your smartphone frequently for missed calls and messages even though you are doing other important things such as having lessons or meetings. Second, you always have a feeling of uncomfortableness when not holding the smartphone for a very short time. The third symptom is that you cannot leave home without your smartphone. Fourth, you feel nervous when the phone is without signal or the battery is running low. Admittedly, smartphones are very useful and are changing our lives a lot. However, more attention needs to be paid on the negative effects of smartphones. By knowing these negative effects, one can classify addiction and avoid being addicted to smartphones. According to the statistics provided by Parks Associates, we can see that the number of people using smartphones since year 2010 has been increasing by millions, and is expected by year 2015, the number of people who use smartphones will reach an expected 2.5 billion people. Based on the research done by Jumio, many people have admitted using their smartphones in unusual places. It is shocking that some of these places, such as in the shower, in a place of worship, and even during sex, make it to the list. This is a video by Microsoft showing some people using their smartphones at the oddest and most inappropriate times. Take a look.
Really?
Really?
It's time for a phone to save us from our phones. New Windows Phone, designed to get you in and out and back to life.
Thanks to the great improvement of electronic technology, the smartphone can serve various of functions such as text messaging, checking locations, web browsing, video calling, online gaming, and many more. It seems that people nowadays can't go anywhere without a smartphone and are beginning to use their smartphones excessively. This phenomenon is worldwide and it raises the concern on the problem of smartphone addiction. People nowadays seem to just be addicted to their smartphones. According to new research by Ofcom, about 1/3 of teenagers describe themselves as highly addicted to their smartphones. However, they regard this phenomenon as normal as they don't think they became addicted because they believe that using their smartphones are actually just daily part of their lives. The question falls on whether using smartphones is a need or just an addiction. It is very hard to distinguish a need from an addiction. However, we can look at the influences and impacts of smartphones on people to give us a clear indication on smartphone addiction. With regards to the simple definition of addiction given in the earlier part of the documentary, it is fair to say that addiction will always result with some negative effects on the people. We can categorize these negative effects into two aspects. The first aspect would be psychology. Addiction can affect people psychologically. As people spend lots of time on their smartphones, their interpersonal relationships may be affected. As they rely too much on the instant messaging of smartphones, there is a lack of face-to-face communication. In some cases, they just feel isolated and irrelevant to the real world, which results in the feeling of depression and anxiety. The second aspect would be physiologically. The smartphone addiction will also affect one's physiology. The gaming apps are so entertaining that people keep playing them from time to time. People sacrifice their sleep time to play these apps. Hence, they often feel tired and they lack sleep. It will certainly affect their health. People use their smartphones for several different functions. Among the most popular ones are for listening to music, taking what are commonly known as selfies, photographing and posting their photos of food on social sites, especially on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, social networking, gaming, watching videos, and also for navigation purposes. We know that most people are using their smartphones excessively. However, some of them are starting to realize that they should not be doing this and have come up with a few ways to stop themselves from continuing on this way. The most known method that is done today is that whenever a group of friends or family get together for a meal, they would stack their phones in the center of the table to avoid anyone from getting distracted by their smartphones. The deal is that the first person that touches their cell phones will be the one to take care of the bill at the end of the meal. Nevertheless, the punishment or consequences for each person or group might differ depending on the situation. There is no doubt that smartphones really are the present and future of our technological world. However, there is also evidence that for some people, they put smartphones on way too high of an importance that sometimes prove to be quite irrational. This is the cue of the iPhone 5S when it was released in Watford, London. As you can see, hundreds of people are queuing up for just a simple device. Doesn't this show their craze for smartphones? Or more accurately, their addiction for smartphones? Let's take a step back to witness what would the world be like without smartphones. Here's a short clip giving you a glimpse of how that would turn out.
Na 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 na
So, after all the pros and cons discussed, do we have control over our smartphones, or do our smartphones have control over us? It's time to switch off your smartphones and spend quality time with your loved ones. Life is short and time is precious. Stop smartphone addiction.